Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Happy Wednesday. I'm Tyler Kieft, joined as always by Kevin McIntosh. Kevin, it's a Wednesday, feels like a Friday as we're getting now into that holiday weekend.
I thought I was the only one that thought it felt like it had some Friday energy in the air today, Tyler. Nonetheless, we are here. We're grateful to be here. Another day, another opportunity to inform the community about what's going on. Let's get to it.
Yeah, and there is a lot going on in the community. We had a busy Tuesday night here in Greater West Bloomfield as the community came together to get to know some people they're going to be seeing in text on their August primary ballots across many of our critical local races. It was all put on by the League of Women Voters Oakland area as they help our local voters get to know the candidates they'll be voting for coming up very soon. Our reporter Jake Schaff has the story.
2024 is a crucial year when it comes to elections, and if you want to make a difference in your community, it's important to have all of the information. And the West Bloomfield League of Women Voters is doing their part to keep their community informed with a recent open forum debate inviting candidates from several crucial upcoming elections to speak their minds and share their policies in a clean, civil, and fair way, and to maybe turn some possible undecided voters over to their side to help them gain a little bit more traction come November.
The event taking place here is a great opportunity to hear candidates answer specific questions in a civilized forum. Everybody gets asked the same question. Everybody has the same amount of time to answer. We have a hard and fast rule that there is no calling of names or bringing up other people in your answer, so you can't disparage other candidates. You're supposed to talk about what you would do. And I've seen them stop an event when people were disparaging other candidates.
Yes, and it's a nonpartisan event, so it's for Democrats, Republicans, and it's just to get to know your candidates that are going to be on the ballot, and that's really important for you to help you make your decision.
When you have major events, people get aroused and get riled up sometimes. So I think that a more civic or civil event like this is good, very personal. One up and be able to talk to each one of the candidates personally, I think is better than standing just in a big rally.
I think that there's a lot riding on this election, not only from like a presidential standpoint, but specifically local. I mean,
right.
You talk about the local, and sometimes people tend to downplay that, but actually local is very vital. So I think being able to actually be in an environment where we get to see them face to face is a huge deal.
It's very important for voters to see and understand where candidates stand on positions. This is not about politics. It's about policies that are being enacted that affect every single one of our lives. And for people to try to stay home in this election is not an option this time. Fill up your gas tank, go to the grocery store, look at your taxes. There is so much at stake with all of these things escalating, with inflation off the charts. It's time for people, the way that we can make a difference is by getting out and voting.
What are some of the biggest things you hope that the visitors take away after coming here tonight?
I hope they take away that being involved in democracy matters. I don't want to call it a sport, but if we want a good democracy, we have to participate and we have to step up. And these are ways you can do it, and it's not painful.
And everybody's voice counts, and people should use their voice. It's important to get what they believe in, the things that they feel they need.
With several debates over the last few years becoming more intense and combative, it's nice to see forums such as these where everything gets to be fair for both the candidates and the civilians as well. Let's hope the candidates were able to get their points across tonight, and let's hope the civilians have all the information they need for when they make these crucial decisions in just a few months. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Appreciate the report from Jake Schaff. And those candidate forums from Tuesday night, they were recorded by our team at Civic Center TV and broadcast live on WBTV, on Civic Center TV, and of course on our Facebook and YouTube pages as well. They'll all be available for broadcast later on today. So check out our website, check out all of our social media as well, where we will have those posted on civiccentertv.com. You'll see regular listings of them as well. So go to our website and find our social media, and you'll get all of those candidate forums for you, both the Michigan 20th district that's currently occupied by Democrat Noah Arbit. He went up against a Republican challenger in that last night. The two candidates for West Bloomfield Township Supervisor and three candidates for the West Bloomfield Township Board for 4 open positions all took part in that Q&A on Tuesday night with the League of Women Voters Oakland area. Kevin, as we head into the holiday weekend, people are going to be getting out on the water. It's one of the hallmarks of our local area is getting out on those lakes, but the Oakland County Sheriff's Office wants to ensure that while people are having their fun during this 4th of July weekend, they're doing so with safety being top of mind.
They are on it, man. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit specifically plans to increase patrols on county lakes this 4th of July weekend. Is all part of Operation Dry Water, their campaign to basically reduce alcohol and drug-related accidents and fatalities on the water. And that's why Oakland County Sheriff's Office Lieutenant Brian Burwell joined us recently on the Splash Live to remind local boaters that safety on a watercraft is the responsibility of the owner and that they need to always keep that front of mind.
One of the things to remember is, as a boater, as an owner of a boat or as an operator of a boat, if you're taking people out, you have a responsibility to get them back in safely. Certainly people are consuming alcohol on the water, understanding that alcohol is going to have a greater effect on you on the water. You know, the elements are on you, the sun, the wind. You know, the boat is moving, so sometimes when people are on a lake, they consume a little more because they're dehydrated, and they don't always realize that the alcohol is affecting them more. Yeah. And when you're out there on a holiday weekend, and obviously the 4th of July is extremely busy on the lakes, and people are enjoying themselves. But just understanding that alcohol is going to have a greater effect on you when you are on the water, when the sun's beating down on you, and remembering you have to get back in safely.
A basic safety tip, of course, is taking advantage of common safety apparatuses like a life jacket. But that's something that Lieutenant Burwell and the Sheriff's Office emphasize at this specific time of the year.
One thing we always remind people is that, you know, life jackets float, you don't. So I know some people don't like wearing the life jackets, and you said that, you know, for various reasons, but, you know, having those life jackets on are, you know, important, especially if you find yourself in the water when you weren't expecting it.
Drinking and driving and basic boat safety are not the only problems that boaters run into on our waters, by the way. Lieutenant Burwell also told us about some of the other common issues boaters tend to run into.
One of the common things we do see on the lake is something as simple as running out of fuel on the boat. You know, people on the water, and next thing you know, they don't have enough fuel to get in. Certainly, cell phones are always an issue, or other electronic devices. People get out on the water and they're distracted very easily. With boating accidents, you know, Oakland County's got a tremendous amount of waterway from our parks, rivers, and streams. It's a great time of the year to get out here and enjoy it. And the Sheriff's Office just wants to remind people that we want you to be safe out there, and we offer those services. We do have our Marine patrols out there. The Sheriff's Office maintains a 24/7 response for any rescues on the water. We're also part of the Southeast Michigan Dive Group, which we coordinate. So, but we always want people safe out there, and we try to educate the public as we go along. But a lot of stuff just starts right at the dock, putting the boat into the water where people are injured at that dock, just trying to put their boat in because maybe they're not familiar with the launching or things of that nature.
And finally, if you ever are unsure of anything out on the water, or even before you even get out on some of our amazing lakes this holiday season, our sheriff deputies are always ready to lend a helping hand.
When our deputies are out on the water, we love interacting with the public. If the public has a question for us, please stop one of the deputies. We absolutely love having positive interactions with people. And if you got a question, you don't know something, you're unsure of something, or even at the boat launch, we have some of our officers there. If it's your first time launching a boat and you're not sure on something, we're always approachable, and we want to be there to make sure you have a safe summer.
Please remember that it is illegal to operate a boat while under the influence of drugs or alcohol. That's a friendly reminder for you. And also, please wear a life jacket. It is very, very crucial and critical for boating safety. For more information on Operation Drywater, visit the Oakland County Sheriff's Office website, oakgov.com/sheriff. Or, of course, you can visit them on social media, their Facebook page, OCSO Michigan. That's Oakland County Sheriff's Office, just the initials, Michigan. Great key information for all of our residents in Greater West Bloomfield, Tyler, as we enter the holiday weekend.
Yeah, that very much is the case, Kevin, and it's really important, especially on a holiday weekend, because that advice, of course, keeping outside of the influence of drugs and alcohol when operating any vehicle, even on the water in these boats, is important throughout the summer. But we're going to have more traffic out on the water, more people out in the water, as people's friends, people's family, visitors from other communities come into Greater West Bloomfield. And I think about busy areas of our community like the Sandbar on Cass Lake in Keagle Harbor. That is always a hot spot during holiday weekends, during really nice weather days, all of which we're expecting to have throughout the rest of this week and into the 4th of July weekend. So all the more important to be prepared with your safety precautions, have your life jackets, keep an eye out for people in your watercraft and out on the water. And of course, if you're going to be consuming adult beverages or you're going to be under the influence, to make sure you have someone there with you that is not under the influence, that can be a responsible adult, preferably, as Lieutenant Burwell said, the owner of that watercraft that you are on, so that sound decisions are being made that keeps not only your safety, but the safety of the entire public in mind. Good stuff. Thank you very much for that report, Kevin. Now, after the stress of the holiday weekend, of course, people coming in, a lot of people around us. It's a busy time of the year. That can get stressful, but you can go out into the park and relax with Kigo Connect and a little bit of yoga. Their Saturday yoga in the park is actually happening this weekend. Now, it's going to be happening on the last Saturday of every month, but they had to cancel the event last weekend and reschedule it for a number of different reasons. So this week, Saturday, head on out to Rose Sorter Park, where Erica from Sunyata Yoga will be holding a friendly, relaxing, soothing class with friendly people from the community beginning at 9 a.m. Again, that is at Rose Sorter Park. That's just behind Keagle Harbor City Hall, right by the gazebo out there, and it is free and open to the public. If you want to learn more about other fun events happening all throughout the summer through the Kigo Connect initiative, visit KH Parks on Facebook for all the information you need to know to follow along with Keagle Harbor Parks and Recreation all season long. Kevin, a great way for people to relieve a little bit of that holiday weekend stress.
Not only that, but we literally just had Dr. Singh on the Splash that talked about the importance of physical activity and things like yoga that helps our body and our bone density and things of that nature, something that is kind of affecting the Greater West Bloomfield area. So yes, yoga, when you see events like this, take that opportunity to get out and have that physical activity, and you get to meet some of your great neighbors in the community.
Yeah, it is a really cool stuff that they're doing with Keagle Harbor Parks all throughout the summer. This is one of just the many things happening, and it's happening this weekend, so go on out and get out there. Now, if you are heading out of town this weekend and you're coming back in, let's say you're going to get back next week, Monday. You got to be ready for some changes out on the road, and Orchard Lake Police wants you to be in the know on the road beginning next week when a major thoroughfare in the city of Orchard Lake Village will be obstructed. Commerce Road will be completely closed Monday, July 8th through the Monday following on July 15th. The reason for this is the Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Office will be doing some very necessary repairs on sewer and manhole covers in that area during that time. So this is not only going to affect commuters on the roadways, but also those living in nearby areas. Orchard Place residents will only be able to access their subdivision from the east entrance. A similar effect will be had on the Dow Ridge and Three Lakes subdivisions. They'll have access from the east. Bayshore and Commerce addresses west of the closure will only have access in and out of their neighborhood from the west. Now, in terms of detours, Orchard Lake Police suggests using Hiller Road to Cooley Lake, taking that to Cass Elizabeth Road, and then back to Cass Lake and Orchard Lake as an alternative route to navigate around Commerce in that area. Again, the affected area is Commerce Road between July 8th, that's next week Monday, and July 15th, the Monday following. You can get more updates and keep up to date on everything you need to know about this obstruction, this road closure, by visiting the Orchard Lake Police Department on Facebook at Orchard Lake Police. Kevin, as we think about holiday travel, we're expecting a lot of people out on the road. And as a result of that, safety going to also come into play for our motorists this time of year.
We are expecting heavier traffic on major highways and local roads due to the holiday travel, which is why joining us right here on the Splash Live, we have West Bloomfield Police Chief Mike Patton joining us on the Splash. And Chief, if you don't mind, first and foremost, just kind of answering the question, how does the police department actually prepare for the increased traffic on the roads during holiday seasons?
Well, Kevin, thanks for inviting me on this morning. Look, I think in any holiday period, there's going to be a lot of increased traffic. So over this upcoming holiday weekend and extended week, there'll be increased traffic, particularly on their major roads. Now, because West Bloomfield does not have any major thoroughfares like a freeway coming through it, we're now probably see it as bad as some other neighboring communities will. I think you should plan ahead for your travel. Consider that there are a number of road construction projects going on throughout the state, whether that would cause you to alter your route or at least cause you to add some additional time to your travel plans. That's always good and prudent planning for travel.
Great information, great oversight in general. Yes, we may not have any of the major highways going through, but nonetheless, a lot of people are still going to be moving, going to different places and doing a lot of different things. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. We know that on water, there's something going on called Operation Dry Water, where they're trying to discourage intoxicated driving. Are there any campaigns or initiatives that your department has going on to kind of ensure safe driving over the holiday weekend as well?
Well, look, we're always very mindful of any kind of intoxicated driving, whether it be on the highways or the waterways. Again, many of the lakes are patrolled here in Oakland County by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, and they'll have marine patrols out during this holiday period. It's very important that drivers or operators of boats or marine watercraft are very mindful of their roles and responsibilities as the operators of motor vehicles or watercraft during these holiday seasons. We want everyone to have a good time, but we want everyone to operate safely.
Absolutely. And I always say that's key. We want to talk to you, not about you. So make sure that you are ensuring safety and precautions all around the board. And joining us right here on the Splash Live, West Bloomfield Police Chief Mike Patton talking about safe holiday travels this weekend. And if you don't mind, I want to kind of ask you, I know certain events and even certain areas may require heavier police presence than others, specifically even during the holiday time that we're experiencing. Are there any specific local events or areas that will have increased police presence that you don't mind telling us about?
Well, a number of the area lakes associations and country clubs over this upcoming week and really beyond will be having their approved annual fireworks events. So police and fire marshal have representatives at those events. There aren't any really significant events going on over this holiday weekend that's coming up, but we're always very mindful of that. Families will be getting together. Those have increased potential for concerns with all the family gets together sometimes during the holidays. But as far as public events going on, other than the area fireworks events, those are the only ones coming up this holiday period.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know, because I know essentially with the different events that's going on, especially depending on the time in the area, there could be some type of changing to the roads and things of like any significant road closures or detours that the community should be aware of over the weekend.
No, but I just encourage people as a broader metro area here, they can check the MDOT website for road closures or events. A lot of times the road construction crews will take a brief hiatus during a holiday period to allow for increased traffic flow, but that's not always possible during all construction projects. So plan ahead, look at your route, check the MDOT site to see if there's any road closures or construction projects that could hinder your travel plans.
Right. Are there any we're all pretty much praying that we're going to get great weather over this holiday weekend, but in the instance that we don't, considering it is the summer, we can get storms. Are there any weather related preparation that your department is going through to kind of handle those situations?
Well, we just like we monitor everything that goes on in our little world here in West Bloomfield, individual homeowners or residents, they can also always keep an eye to the sky for if there's going to be any kind of inclement weather that could hinder their holiday or event plans. One of the things we always recommend that residents do is to buy what's called a NOAA radio, NOAA radio, and set it up inside their home to allow them to get emergency weather alerts. You can program those radios to the specifications that you want, what kind of warnings that you want, but those would set off an alarm within your home if there's a weather alert, a tornado warning or watch coming up, or other severe storm warning that they may have to take shelter or alter your plans because of that weather.
Good point. That's the type of stuff you don't necessarily think about until something happens. You want to react to it, or until you're notified in advance by someone like yourself. And join us right here on The Splash, West Bloomfield Police Chief Mike Patton joining us, talking about traveling safety during the holiday and other different safety and security tips. Now, are there any specific provisions in place for anyone looking to access emergency services during the holiday?
Well, we always have, obviously, we're a 24/7 service provider, police, fire, EMS. If there's really a true emergency here in West Bloomfield, you need police, fire, or EMS, you can call 911. If there's a lesser nature of a problem or concern that you have, you can call our general business number. West Bloomfield Police Department dispatches for the also very fine Orchard Lake, Keugal Harbor, or Sylvan Lake Police Departments. The West Bloomfield Fire Department is their fire and EMS service provider for all four communities. But look, if there's ever a doubt, you've heard me say this before, Kevin, I would rather have us, and I'm sure the other three cities police chiefs would say the same thing. We'd rather come out on 99 false alarms than not be there the one time that we should be. So don't set the bar too high. If you have a concern what's going on in your home or your neighborhood, we'd rather come out and check it out just to be sure.
That's very reassuring to hear from you, Chief, to be honest with you. Just lets us know our police department, it will be there to respond to whatever is necessary. Just make sure if you see something, say something. That way we can be on top of things as soon as possible. So real quick, what about responses to fireworks and fireworks safety? Just touching on that real quick. What role does the police department play on that? As we know, the fire department responds to the actual fires in certain situations. What role does the police department play on those?
Well, we have a very specific ordinances regarding the state fireworks laws. They essentially mirror what the state laws are, but only approved consumer grade fireworks can be used from appropriate time. This upcoming holiday weekend, because the July 5th ends up being on a Friday, there's an extended period of time, but the holiday fireworks for this holiday period has already began this past Saturday, but it'll continue all the way through July 5th. That approved consumer grade fireworks can be used from 11 a.m. to 11:45 p.m. They have to be used on your personal property. I think a mistake that a lot of people think it's okay to go out into a street or neighborhood park or school property to use their fireworks. That's incorrect. Those would be violations of our ordinance, and the police will respond to those kind of complaints. I always think there's always particularly during the warmer summer months, anytime there's fireworks being used, there's a potential for If they're not paying attention, that the fireworks can land in a dry grass area or field and initiate a fire. We get those several times a year. And of course, I think there's always the personal safety aspects. Already this season, you've seen some very sad stories about people being injured, even particularly children, during being closely associated to the use of fireworks and or the handling of fireworks. So that always needs to be very careful. After you use the fireworks, proper cleanup and disposal is important. You'll see a number of runs during the year where people think, oh, they're already probably cool enough to place in a trash receptacle. And it turns out that they're not. And you'll see a fire, potentially even a potential connective structure fire associated with those incidents. So be very careful. Make sure your fireworks are completely extinguished. Adult supervision is always required in all of these things. You have to be an adult, 18 or use these fireworks. They're not suitable for smaller children. And I think just good common sense, good parental oversight will allow everyone to have the appropriate fun during the holiday period, but also have it be a safe experience.
Wise words from another trusted authority in public safety right here in West Bloomfield. Chief, we appreciate your time. Last thing, any additional words, advice, tips for people, even visitors traveling around the greater West Bloomfield area during the holiday season with everything going on?
Buckle up for safety. Don't drink and drive. Consider your time. The life you save may be your own. And have a happy holiday.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself, Chief. Best place to land the plane right now. Thank you again, West Bloomfield Police Chief Mike Patton, joining us again on the Splash Live, talking about holiday travel and safety. Thank you again for your time, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Once again, this information seems like common sense, but it makes so much more sense when it's coming from people who are in a position of authority, especially when it comes to public safety right here in our own backyard. So much to keep in mind. You can rewatch that segment again on our website, civiccentertv.com. Click on the On Demand tab. We are live, local, and social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy. And if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Kevin McIntosh. We thank you for being with us. The 4th of July is approaching us here in the greater West Bloomfield area, and that means we're going to have a lot of fireworks shows coming up this weekend, including tonight in the prettiest little city in Michigan in Sylvan Lake, where they're going to have their fireworks through the Oakland County Boat Club, and then on the 5th, there's going to be another show for the Cass Lake fireworks coming up as well. Now, on top of all that, there's also going to be some fireworks shows that perhaps you're going to put on yourself, some friendly stuff you're going to be doing at home with your friends and with your family. And so that means you got to keep safety in mind. You want to also keep in mind what's the most fun you can have with these fireworks as you're keeping that safety in mind and as you're getting together with your friends, your family, your neighbors, and more at your home. We have an expert with us to talk about some of the hottest fireworks in the greater West Bloomfield area and how they help you get ready to have a fun 4th of July. Joining us is the manager of Phantom Fireworks in West Bloomfield, Rachel Dykes, on today's edition of the Splash Live. Starting off, Rachel, just tell us a little bit about what are some of the most recommended or most hotly sourced fireworks in our communities at this time.
The most popular ones are our repeaters. They light once and they go up multiple times. They do give you a more enjoyable show, but other ones that are popular are mortars and fountains. They kind of, they kind of go all over the place and with popularity. So it all depends on what each person personally likes for what they want for their show.
And that's what's so important about going to your local shop, is you get a chance to talk about that with your local vendors. How can the people at Phantom Fireworks and your friendly team help people make the right choices as they make this last-minute prep for the 4th?
So we like to engage with our customers and ask them, hey, do you prefer stuff that goes up in the air? Do you prefer stuff that you have to load multiple times? Would you rather stuff stay low to the ground and not go as high? Because everybody does have their preferences, and we do have very wide product knowledge, and we can create you a show that has everything or just small stuff, big stuff. It all depends on you, and we are able to help you find what you are most comfortable with. And that is one of the biggest things, is lighting fireworks that you are comfortable with and not doing anything outside of your comfort zone.
And that is really important as we celebrate the 4th of July, as often people and families and friends will get together and celebrate with the fireworks, is to keep that in consideration. Safety has to be number one. And so as you're consulting with these customers about what's best for the fun they're looking to have, how do you bring safety into play when you're having those discussions?
So we bring up like how they want to light their fireworks. We always recommend punks, which are a slow burning incense type stick. They look like V's, and you can use those to light your fireworks instead of trying to use like a small lighter. We have remote firing systems. We have fuse extensions. We just want to make sure that your area is like flat, level ground. You're not on any hills or uneven ground. And we want to make sure that you are in a area that has enough space vertically and horizontally to be clear.
Rachel Dykes is with us, the manager of Phantom Fireworks in West Bloomfield Township, joining us as we get ready for the big 4th of July holiday and, of course, the celebration. Rachel, we also think about the kids this time of the year, too, because often they are having their own fun on the 4th of July. They get involved with the sparklers and the other kind of smaller fireworks typically, but there seems to be some competing modes of thought on children and their interaction with fireworks. From a professional standpoint, someone that works with fireworks, that sells them. Now, what sort of is Phantom Fireworks' take on how kids can get involved with fireworks during the 4th of July celebration and whether they should?
So we do recommend that children do not light fireworks, ignite them. We do recommend that it is adult only. We do have other items in our showroom, like we have our ball of fun that you can see kind of behind me, and we do have like a wide variety of light up items now that are more kid friendly, just so that they can still have fun and have stuff to do while enjoying the show put on for them.
More information about Phantom Fireworks in our local area can be found on fireworks.com. You'll look up their location in West Bloomfield on Haggerty Road, or you can call them 248-592-9610. Rachel Dykes is their manager and joins us on today's edition of the Splash Live. As we inch closer to the day of the big day on the 4th, and what sort of special activities are happening or special sales may be happening at Phantom Fireworks?
So my in-store promo is currently 25% off all of our fireworks. However, we do have multiple avenues to get coupons. If you look at our social media, if you sign up for our newsletter at fireworks.com, those will roll in some better coupons and deals as we move closer to the 4th.
Again, Phantom Fireworks, located on Haggerty Road in West Bloomfield Township, a great local option to go to if you're looking for those last-minute fireworks and, of course, some friendly expert advice from right here in our community. I'm curious, Rachel, because fireworks are big at a few times a year. We think about Memorial Day, we think about Labor Day, we think about the 4th of July, but in between all that, you're still running this business in our community. So, now, what happens in between these big holidays when you're running a fireworks store like Phantom?
So there are actually some other holidays that we do get very busy for. There is Diwali, which is the Hindu festival of lights that we get busy for. It normally falls October, November. Chinese New Year's has started to pick up for us as well. So we tend to have steady business. We also have customers who will come in with our coupons, because we do send those out weekly normally, and they will stock up their fireworks show over the year instead of having to come in and do one big spend all at once.
Well, that is good news to hear that you have business all throughout the year. And an interesting fact, we learned something new today as we get ready for the 4th of July, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fireworks days of the year. Rachel, before we let you go, anything else that customers should know as they get ready to come out to Phantom Fireworks this week and make their final preparations for the 4th of July?
Just make sure that you know what you're comfortable with. Don't let anybody talk you into anything that you personally are not comfortable with. Make sure that you're not coming unprepared with what you have for an idea. Like, we can try to help you the best that you want, but you like what you like, and I'm not going to know that. But so as long as you come happy and excited, we are happy and excited to help you, and we will get you all taken care of.
Well, Rachel, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to your busy day ahead as we're just getting closer and closer to the 4th of July. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a lovely day.
Happy to have Rachel on with us to talk about something that's going to continue to go on over the next couple days. People will keep purchasing those fireworks, keep putting together their own special shows or their fun evenings with fireworks at home, and we want to make sure that they are able to have access to a good resource here in our local community, support a local business, but also keep in mind those questions you should be asking your fireworks vendor this time of the year before you buy those items and bring them over to your home or other location. Thanks to Rachel for being with us. Kevin, this is also an important time of the year because recently the news broke out of Lansing that the state has passed its latest education budget, and that, of course, is going to affect our kids right here in Greater West Bloomfield and right away as they head into the next school year.
Great information that directly affects us right here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, Tyler. Great information, and actually join us right here on the Splash Live is Superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District, Dr. Danya Bazzi. Now, first, Dr. Bazzi, how will this newly passed Michigan State education budget directly affect our students right here in West Bloomfield?
Well, you know, there's a lot of positive aspects of this budget for our school district in terms of investments and things that, you know, we all feel strongly about in terms of the meal program that allows us to provide students meals for breakfast and lunch. We know that's an important part of learning is to make sure that students are fed. There's also been, you know, a nice investment in our preschool programming, our GSRP, which is funded at the state level, and we've seen, you know, a nice increase to that. There's also been increases to at-risk funding, which again helps us support our students at all levels to make sure that they're successful in the classroom. So there's a lot of positive to the budget that, you know, we want to highlight and appreciate from our legislature and our senators and the governor. But, you know, there's obviously some things for the long term that I still think need to be addressed within the budget.
Of course. It's not going to be one size fits all for all problems that we're having right here in the state of Michigan. So I completely understand. But what impact do you anticipate the community college guarantee having on West Bloomfield graduates?
You know, I think that's a great opportunity for students. Usually what sometimes acts as a barrier for students to move on to post-secondary education is that access to college. We know that costs at the community college and university level are increasing.
Correct.
So having that pipeline to be able to say that you have, you know, access to go to school, post-secondary education is a big step for the state of Michigan. But at the same time, that comes at a cost. So my focus is always going to be on K-12 education in terms of providing students the best here, but it's certainly a great opportunity for some of our students after they leave the district.
No, I understand that from your perspective. You want to make sure you're getting them prepared to go to that next step in education. Completely understand. Joining us right now on the Splash Live, Superintendent for the West Bloomfield School District, Dr. Danya Bazzi, talking about the Michigan State educational budget that was just recently passed, how it affects West Bloomfield School District. And we just talked about the free meals and things being offered. What benefits do you expect to see with its continuation?
I think again, having that ability to ensure that students have access to meals while they're at school is really important, and we're excited about continuing that with our food service department, and obviously enhancing that each year as we go by. Students are very honest with us. I usually do a meet and eat with myself and members of the Board of Education each month, where students give us their feedback, and food service tends to be a topic. So it's something that we've really been working on, and next year are excited for some changes and having student voice in that process to make sure that we're listening to our students.
Yeah, that school lunch is very, very essential. Trust me, we all get in between classes. It's a great social time, don't get me wrong, and a break from the education and whatnot, but having that great meal, especially we don't know what our children's situation is at home, so to be able to provide that great nutritional meal and adequate meal makes sense. What strategies are being implemented in West Bloomfield to adapt to the budget changes and ensure the quality of education is maintained?
I mean, there's really two things that we're focusing our efforts on, which are, one is a grant that comes from the state of Michigan, which is 31AA. And that specifically is meant to support mental health supports within the school as well as school safety. Unfortunately, in the budget, that grant was heavily reduced. I mean, to the point where that will most likely impact our services in that arena. Now, the MIPSERS funding that basically is where most school districts are receiving their funding, it's a great amount of money, and it will help us with continuing these services. The problem is it's not guaranteed for any time beyond the 24-25 fiscal year. So meaning in 25-26, there's no guarantee that MIPSERS funding is still going to be there. Now, they are trying to address this through Senate Bill 911, and basically that will ensure the stability of our retirement system and ensure the funding stays back with the district. Our funding increase this year wasn't through the traditional per pupil foundation allowance increase. That has held steady in this budget, which that's not occurred in the past 10 years, where we have not seen any increase to the foundation allowance. Now, the amount, though, is still a healthy amount that we were given this year. The problem is we need to ensure that it's guaranteed for future years, so that we can continue focusing our efforts on mental health and school safety infrastructure. So really right now, those are our two main focus areas, and what we're really trying to work with our legislature and our senators to ensure that Senate bill is addressed.
A lot of key information and great points that you hit on. Join us right now in the Splash, Superintendent for West Bloomfield School District, Dr. Danya Bazzi, joining us. Now, since we're talking about budget, we have to talk about jobs, right? With concerns about potential future teacher layoffs, how is the district preparing to handle any staffing challenges that may arise?
We look at our budget, and, we have to ensure that our spending, revenue, and expenditures line up. We have worked very hard, though, through attrition as people leave to be able to make those changes without impacting people. 85% of our budget is people, and that's because that's what we do. We're educators, and we're in the business of people. So it's something that we work closely together as an administrative team and our staff to say, what are the services that our students need to make sure that we're able to provide the services that we're able to, that are needed to provide for our students. There will be complexities with this budget in terms of long-term sustainability. We will address those through, steady, calm leadership to make sure that our students have the very best. I will say we've been balancing it in terms of increasing our programming, even with some of our difficult financial situation that, like many schools have found. I mean, this year we're increasing our music program at the 5th grade to include choir. We've expanded our STEAM program to all K-5 elementaries across the district.
There you go.
So we're going to continue working. We've also brought kind of the push-up method in terms of our math instruction at the elementary level so that if students are advanced, they're able to move up to the grade level ahead. In a very smooth process. So even with this, we're being creative as a district with our community to make sure that we're continuing to expand the offerings for our students while addressing those budgetary constraints, in the most efficient manner.
Well, let me just tell you right now, you're doing great work, Dr. Bazzi. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Essentially, we covered a lot of points, but basically to recap and kind of go over things, what are your priorities and plans for the West Bloomfield School District in light of this new budget overall?
We're going to take a look at the long-term sustainability and to see how this impacts us going into the next fiscal year, 25-26. We're going to continue to advocate, though, to ensure that Senate Bill 911 is pushed through so that we can ensure that funding stays with us for the foreseeable future. And we're going to continue to lead in terms of, student data driving our decision making in terms of ensuring that we're meeting the needs of every student within the West Bloomfield School District.
Yep, having that open ear, listening to the suggestions, anything that the community needs, the students need, parents need, I believe that's key right there. Thank you again for your insight, your information, and more importantly, your time. Superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District, Dr. Danya Bazzi, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.
It's great to have information that is relayed to us from our superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District to kind of break down the effects or the impact that the Michigan education budget has on our local community. So great information, and I love that she's still putting in her efforts to try to accommodate the areas where we may not have as much funding, Tyler. Great information there.
Yeah, and this is important news coming out of Lansing. This budget affects our schools that often have to prepare their budgets in advance of a budget being prepared for them to go off of, to know that per pupil funding that funds the majority of their programs throughout the years. And not only is that the basic stuff, having the ability to pay teachers and staff and contractors that keep our schools running all throughout the calendar year and throughout the school year. But Kevin, it also affects some of those special programs that often give students those additional learning opportunities outside of the classroom and the ability to make some incredible memories with their classmates.
No, great point that you made right there. Speaking of classmates and memories, West Bloomfield High School theater class actually just recently took a trip to Greece, and now they are back, and we want to talk all about it. Join us right here on the Splash Live. It's theater teacher and director from West Bloomfield High School, Christine Stevens, and West Bloomfield High School junior and theater student, Brandon Young. Thank you so much for being here first and foremost. Let's get straight into it. Christine Stevens, if you don't mind, first, what inspired this trip specifically to Greece for the theater class?
Hi, thank you so much for having us. We're so happy to be here. So this trip was inspired because Greece is really the origin of all Western theater as we know it today. And when I was a young theater student, I had the opportunity to study abroad in Greece, and it changed my life in a really big way. And when I became a teacher, one of the first things I promised myself was that I would always seek to provide educational opportunities that were profound and that were outside of just the classroom and just the theater. And so it was really my goal for several years. This process took a while to get approved. So when we went to Greece, we were looking at the ancient architectural pieces, but also the ancient theaters, and talking about the first playwrights and the first performers and seeing plays in the ancient theaters. And so it was really a nice way to get the kids inspired to look at really ancient Greek theater and where everything stems from today.
Miss Stevens, let me tell you, you literally changed lives with that trip. The high school student in me was like, why did I not go to this school and go to her class? Yo, I'm so jealous. But Brandon, to you personally, going overseas, experiencing a different culture, how did you engage with the local culture and theater scene in Greece? How was that?
I think the culture there, it was a big culture shock for me because when we first landed in the airport in Greece, pretty much nobody spoke English. And it was really confusing and actually kind of cool to be able to experience all the different cultures and seeing how they do things different than how we do it here in America.
That's a great way to look at it, Brandon, by the way. That's a very mature way to look at it, because any other time, if you're somewhere where no one speaks your language, you kind of feel lost, out of place, and you're looking for help. So I'm glad you looked at it with that fresh set of eyes. Join us right here on the Splash Live. West Bloomfield High School theater teacher and director Christine Stevens, as well as Brandon Young, West Bloomfield High School theater student also. So Miss Stevens, if you don't mind, how do you feel like the educational benefits that you observed the students experiencing from the Greek theater kind of helped them in their role?
That was a really heartwarming thing for me as a teacher, is to see how inspired they were and to listen to the conversations that they had on their own without really me eliciting it.
Right.
After each theater performance that we saw, they engaged in conversations talking about how different it was and what they liked and disliked. And it was the two performances were very unique and very a complete contrast to what we would something that I would take them to see in America today. So that was fascinating. They were taking their current knowledge of theater and pulling it to this other cultural experience. One show that we saw was in the Greek language, so we had to read subtitles. But the physical expression was quite incredible, and the set and the technical aspects too. I think they struggled a little bit, but overall, that was the show that elicited the most conversation. And then for me, when I asked students to perform at the Ancient Theater of Argos, there was no audience, but we were performing in this space. And then students that I didn't ask to perform wanted to. And so we were like pulling monologues and scripts and performing on the spot. And seeing that light and energy, and they just wanted to perform in that space. That was so beautiful.
Oh my God. Look, you see me smile. I'm so happy. I feel like I went to the trip, but I didn't go to the trip with you. It seems so nice. And like I said, such a cultural, international experience. I know it meant a lot to the students. But let's hear it from you personally, Brandon. Your favorite memory or takeaway from that trip?
Wow. Favorite memory. I think my favorite memory would be when we went to Tolo and I got to swim in the Aegean Sea. I think that was really cool that I got to swim in international waters. So
yeah, man.
But I'd also like to give a big thank you to Miss Stevens for letting me perform at that ancient stage. It was really cool, and I will forever be changed by that. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you, Miss Stevens. That's coming from me too, and us here at the Splash. Join us right now, theater teacher and director Christine Stevens, as well as West Bloomfield High School theater student Brandon Young. Just talking about their recent trip to Greece. Now, Miss Stevens, if you don't mind, I basically want to know, with this trip and the experience that came with it, how do you plan to integrate the experience and lessons learned from this trip into your theater curriculum going back to West Bloomfield High School?
So that's a great question. So the students, Brandon's one of them. So the two students that performed a scene from Antigone, they are competing with that scene at a theater festival this year. I think what was exciting was that they understood how profound and how interesting and actually relatable ancient theater is. So this fall we're doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, which isn't Greek, it's Shakespeare, obviously, but I think I'm more excited. I think potentially the kids are more interested and intrigued by the fact that ancient theater can actually be very visceral and relatable to a teenager nowadays. And I think that just kind of that little kind of touching our toes into like why theater started and the messages that theater carries, they're long lasting. And so yeah, and I would like to do another Greece Greece trip, and then one day, of course, do a Greek theater piece in our big auditorium.
Ooh, that'd be exciting. I might have to go back to high school, try to take that next trip with you, Miss Stevens. Now, Brandon, asking you, this appears to be something that you are very passionate about. What I would assume that you want to pursue after high school, but ultimately from this trip, what did you learn that you feel like helps build you, or build you as an actor or a performer, I should say?
That's a really good question. One thing I really took away from the trip was that in Greek theater, they use a lot of emotion. So I feel like, tapping into your emotions and being able to control it for the scenes that you do is really important if you want to pursue acting in theater. And me personally, I want to go into film acting. So I feel like some of the stuff from Greek theater and the theater that I do at West Bloomfield High School could help me on my journey for my film career.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and that was a great response to that too. Man, when you say that, I'm thinking about the movies that we watch and how you can literally see, like, that's a great part of the acting, the emotions to the situation in their face. That has a lot to do with, being a good actor, good performer, if you ask me personally. I know we're kind of short on time, just to kind of get out of here. Miss Stevens, you touched on it briefly. Another trip to Greece is possibly in the works, or at least in your future plan. Any other future plans, any other international trips, or anything that you may have other than another Greece trip for our theater students to kind of get them more acquainted with performing in theater?
Yes. That is, I think, one of my gifts and one of my faults is that I love adventure, I love traveling, and I just take the students along for the ride, and they're amazing with that. So we're going to New York next summer for a Broadway tour. And then we travel nationally and do different competitions and stuff like that. I did toy around with the idea of taking them to the Stratford Theater, which is where a lot of great Shakespeare is performed. And then my trip to Greece would be 2 summers from now. So I kind of have this vision of New York, Greece, New York, Greece, New York, Greece, so that they could potentially do both, or save for one, or count on one. I feel like having something set in sort of stone helps them get excited and helps pull theater kids into our school district. Like you said, I would have wanted to go on that as well when I was in high school.
Yes, trust me. Yeah, these students are very lucky, very fortunate to have a teacher and a leader and director like yourself. I want to thank both of you again for joining us right here on The Splash Live. West Bloomfield High School theater teacher and director Christine Stevens and West Bloomfield High School theater student Brandon Young talking about their trip to Greece. Thank you for being here and sharing your stories.
Thank you so much for having us. It was our pleasure.
Absolutely. Oh, what a great Tyler, talking to them, I could feel the energy of the Greece trip coming through the video, man. I couldn't stop smiling just hearing about it, just knowing that these students are had a once in a lifetime great experience with their high school classmates and teacher. I'm lost for words, man. I'm so happy that you had a chance to experience that.
Yeah, a really great opportunity for these kids to see the world, to see some different experiences and different walks of life, while also still learning outside of the classroom and during their summer vacation as well. Congratulations to them on a successful trip. We're glad that they're home, and we're glad that they had a great time as well. We want you at home to have a great time also this 4th of July weekend, and often that's going to occur with fireworks coming into play. But here in Greater West Bloomfield, West Bloomfield Township, and the Tri-Cities of Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, and Sylvan Lake, they're all under the same ordinances as part of the Tri-City Fire Board Agreement. When it comes to fireworks, they can only be shot off certain times of the year and on certain days. So for the 4th of July weekend, it is now through Friday of this week from 11 a.m. until 11:45 p.m. There are limits throughout that, on top of that are also in play in this ordinance, as explained to us by Fire Marshal Byron Turnquist.
This year, per township ordinance, which is the same in Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake. Fireworks can be used June 29th through July 5th, 11 a.m. in the morning to 11:45 p.m. in the evening. That's an effort to try to be respectful to your neighbors.
Often kids are also getting involved in the fun with fireworks at home, but Fire Marshal Turnquist suggests that perhaps they should sit back and enjoy the show and leave the fireworks operations to the adults.
Really, all fireworks should just be used by anybody that's over 18. And I know around the 4th of July celebrations, alcohol is usually present, and anybody using fireworks, lighting them should be sober and not drinking.
For more helpful fireworks safety tips and fireworks information and fire safety information all throughout the year, visit the West Bloomfield Fire Department's Facebook page, facebook.com/WB Fire Department. You can also go to wbtownship.org to call their non-emergency number for helpful information and safety tips all throughout the year. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. That's it for our live shows this week. We highly encourage you to always keep up to date with us on CivicCenterTV.com and across our social media from all the latest from us here at Civic Center TV and across the greater West Bloomfield area. Big thank you to our team at Master Control, Calvin Brown and Peyton Skyver, alongside Kevin McIntosh. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for tuning in to the Splash Live.